May there, how you doing? Bobby Dirkens here. Thanks so much for joining me tonight. Uh, you gonna get the real thing from me. Now, I'm gonna preview, like in weirdos on ESPN say, I'm gonna preview the 2024 season for the Clemson Tigers. All right. Now I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, ain't no fluffing here. I'm gonna tell you the truth. All right. I know you want me to lie to you. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm gonna tell you my unscathed thoughts. So, I do hope y'all will subscribe to my channel. I am the voice out in the wilderness screaming the truth. So I hope y'all will listen to me. And, yeah, I'm gonna go dive right in. Now, I learned about this new technology. My grandma told me that I need to be careful with it because next thing I'll have the mark of the beast. I ain't getting the mark of the beast. I'm just using some technology. So here we go. Let's see if this works. They say it'll work. You never know if it will. Lord, look at that. Now it's Clemson schedule. All right. I'm going to be talking about that in just a second. Now, but right now, I'm, I'm going to talk about Clemson football. Listen to me. Everybody's dropped their drawers, took a dump on Dabo Swinney. Dabo Swinney's got more national championships than all of you out there saying a bunch of weird stuff about him. All right? There's some of y'all propped up. You think you know what you're talking about. You're taking shots at the man. I'll have you know that man slept on the floor of his dorm room when he was at Alabama. All right? He's been through tougher times than these. Okay? All right? Off of good intel, I've also heard that he walked in on on his camp counselor, fat old woman, many years ago, and he lived through that. So I'm going to tell you, if he can come through seeing a fat, ugly woman getting out of the bathtub at youth camp, he can overcome what he's been going through. All right? I don't want to hear any trash. I don't want to hear your tongue slapping that you like to give him, saying awful stuff about him. All right? I ain't for it. I'm against it. So that's where I stand. If you don't like it, I'll get my old truck out here, meet you in the local Walmart, and I will write in cursive what I'll do to you with my tires, and then I'll follow up by actually doing it to you. That's where I stand. Can you tell me something, please, sir? How many national championships you got? None? What I thought. Now, they went and they hired they hired Lincoln Riley's brother. All right? They hired Garrett Riley. He's out here, him and his haircut. He's walking around. And last year he was setting up last year. All right? He wanted everybody to think. That the offense was terrible. They did that all on purpose. Okay? Some of y'all sitting there, you playing checkers. They are playing chess. However you play that. I've never played it. I stick with checkers. Even though you never guess it, I actually enjoy Candyland. Love Candyland. It's fun. I actually like to play with real candy. It's delicious. It's a great way to spice up that game. But they fooled everybody because they knew Georgia'd come in here being the felon-ridden punks that they are. And so they made Cade go out there and not play like... They told that boy not to play like he could. Okay? He played y'all like a well-strung fiddle. It's like Charlie Daniels, God rest his soul, when he played Devil Went Down to Georgia. Here, it's even in Georgia. Did you hear that? I did. The offense, they got Phil Maffa. Phil Maffa run through a brick wall and still keep a getting it. In fact, I heard he actually did that when he was a little younger, but it was a story for another time. Maybe he saw the fat, ugly woman getting out of the bathtub like Dabo Swinney did, and he didn't take it so well. I wouldn't. Them wide receivers, they went down there, Texas, Florida, got good wide receivers. Them boys jumping through the roofs. Georgia can't. Georgia, Florida State, 0-1 Miami, they can't guard that crap. You're sitting there lying to yourself. You can sit there and say all you want to, but all you're doing is your tongue's waggling. You ain't saying nothing. You can't guard them. And then you got that kid from Greenville, Tyler Brown. He's running all over the place. I have on good intel that he was only a 3-star on purpose. He was more like a 5-star, and they told him to play just okay while he was at Greenville High School, so he'd go down to Clemson, fly under the radar, and everybody be caught off guard. All right, Hurts Delato's been actually faking injuries, so everybody think he ain't gonna be out there playing against them. They went and they hired that Matt Luke guy. You know, Matt Luke kind of looks like a Baptist preacher. I trust him for some reason. You know, there's just something about him that says he would run a good youth camp. But he's down there teaching our big boys how to get in there and knock these guys around. I'm telling you, he is the secret weapon against Georgia. He is. He is. You go to the other side of the ball, we got all these really good, talented players. You got Sammy Brown in his hair. Beautiful mane of hair. Do you know that his hair is actually on a separate scholarship than he is? And it's worth it to me. Barrett Carter, got R.J. Mickens, Peter Woods out there. His calves is as big as my torso. That's who's going to be playing for Clemson. How dare y'all think they're going to be anything other than the front runner for the national championship? And you got all these weirdos from ESPN. They own the SEC. Of course they're going to pick Clemson to be 14th, 15th, 20th. Surprised they even ranked them. So I'm going to give you my scenario. All these people ain't coming out here, they talking about 3 different scenarios for Clemson. They give you the best or the worst or what they really think. Are you schizophrenic? Make up your mind. Try not to cuss these days. Makes the Lord mad at me. Make up your mind. Give me what you think's going to happen. I ain't going to give you 3. I ain't going to give you 3 predictions. I'm going to go through a schedule right now, and I'm going to tell you with great authority what's going to happen. How you like them apples? Hey, put that down again. I'm over here doing my show, and what do? You start doing a bunch of trash over there because you think I ain't going to pay attention to you. Stop trying to light the dog's tail on fire. I know it's funny, but it's not okay. You gotta teach these youngins. You don't teach them, they'll burn up a dog. All right, let me share this. Let me share this schedule. Share this schedule. Ain't that nice? Right there. I might be a redneck, but I got a little technical savvy to me. First game next weekend, August 31st, in the heart of Atlanta. Well, first, good luck to both teams on getting inside the stadium without getting stabbed, mugged, or toted off. Tell the cheerleaders they need a bodyguard. Anyway, Georgia is like a 14-point favorite. All right. Remember, ESPN owns the SEC, and in turn they own Georgia. So of course they're gonna push everybody and their brother to believe Clemson's gonna lose to the Georgia Bulldogs. Georgia Bulldogs so good. Georgia Bulldogs. Listen, I don't trust a team that's coached by a guy who's got the frat boys version of a bowl cut. Kirby's got a bowl cut. He does. They don't want to accept it, and he's talking about chopping wood. Chopping wood. That's weird as... What is that? Chopping wood. Hey, what you need to do, you need to go get a good mature haircut. Does it make you look like you just pledged last year and you spend all your time drunk? Here's my prediction. Clemson's going to win this ball game by 2 touchdowns. All right. Georgia, they coming out there. They think they going to do their thing. They going to be hooping and hollering and everything. Well, those of them who's out of jail, that is. All right? Because I said this the other day, but I'm going to say it again because it's powerful. Georgia is the only team I know that has their own wing at the local penitentiary. And Kirby Smart poses as a chaplain. In fact, he got ordained by the Universalist Church of California to visit them because nobody checks the chaplain. He just comes and goes as he please. He's also the only chaplain that when he holds his prayer meetings, it just happens to be with film of SEC opponents. That's how many players they have in jail, in or out of jail, all the time. So we might not have to play half our team. I mean, you hear them talk about it, it's like, the police department down here's got it out for us. Hey, idiot, if you run 90 miles per hour in a 45 mile per hour zone, unless they are blind, they're going to pull you over. I know it's shock. I know when they pull you over and you roll the windows down, there's so much pot boiling out that's like you set your leg on fire. You're shocked that they're profiling you, ain't they? Oh, I bet they are. Oh, there goes a Georgia player. Oh, there goes a Georgia player. Oh, look, Bill. He ran 100 this time instead of a 90 and a 45. He must have souped up the car a little more. Clemson's going to beat Georgia by 2 touchdowns in this game, and that is going to be the beginning of the race to the top. Very next week, they play Appalachian State. Appalachian State is in a beautiful little area up there in Boone, North Carolina. Don't know anything about Boone, North Carolina. All the rich hippies that were in Asheville, North Carolina, got sick of all the poor hippies and the drug addicts, hippies in Asheville. They moved to Boone. That's what they did. They're up there. I know they won in 07. Michigan, that was incredible. That was a good time. You remember that announcer for Appalachian State when they actually won, blocked that field goal on Michigan. He was screaming like his hand was stuck in a microwave turned on high. That was wonderful. That ain't going to happen this time. Them mountain boys are going to come down to Clemson. Dabo Swinney's going to take his foot and he's going to break it off in their tail. Send them back up there. Go, nice try, you bunch of losers. Go back up there. And what's up with the name of a little mountain school? What is up with their mascot being named Yusef? Maybe Billy Bob, maybe Marvin, maybe Murtis, but Yusef? Too many tree huggers up there. The very next week, our best friend Dave Doran. You know, Dave Doran, he and Dabo Swinney just love each other. I'm telling you, Dave Doran seems like somebody that would be the president of the HOA, which I don't live in one of those because I can't stand. If I want to pee off the front of my porch like the Lord wanted me to, I'd do it. That's how you're supposed to do it. Yeah, I need to pee. I'm on my front porch. I pee. I don't care who's driving by, and listen to me. Nobody's driving by because I live out in the boonies and love it. But Dave seems like the type that'd walk around with an old tape measure and write a stern-worded letter. Your garbage can was 6 inches too close to the curb. This is a mild infraction. Well, Dave is going to bring down NC State to Clemson. You know they hadn't won at Clemson since 2002. That's before Philip Rivers had fathered one of his 73 children he has. That's 73 children ago. All right? God bless his wife. You know when she walks, it ain't natural. But they got that good quarterback out of Coastal Carolina. I like him. He had a mullet. He was more powerful then. It's kind of like Samson, you know? Delilah got in his ear, chopped his hair off. I mean, she must have been a looker for him to tell that his hair was the source of his strength. You know, you know that was anyway. I ain't going there. But he cut his mullet off. All right. He looks like he should work for State Farm now, especially that red on. He feels like he should be enrolling me into an auto policy, with a little extra coverage, but not too much, so I can keep my payment low every month. Clemson's gonna beat them again for the 27th year in a row in Death Valley. NC State, they're all bark, no bite. Yeah, I worked on that and came up with that off the spot. Clemson's gonna win this game. They're gonna be 3-0. This time they're gonna be about number 6 in the country. It's gonna be tough to get past Penn State and the Fighting James Franklins, but trust me, they will blow it. Next week, play the Nerds of Stanford. They don't even know out there that they have a football team other than the 49ers. Okay? They have no clue. They're like, Stanford, this is great. I heard they play basketball here. They're really good at spelling bees. And think about every other communist that's in political power either went to Stanford or Harvard. So they have that going for them. But they're going to fly 3,000 miles to Clemson, South Carolina. And Clemson's going to take every branch off that flipping tree on their logo. They're going to mulch it down, and then they're all going to take a dump in it. And they're going to send them back. They win that game. At that point, Clemson's going to be 4-0, probably about number 4 in the country. Then they're going to go and they're going to play Florida State. Mike Norvell, if you look at him, he looks like somebody that would sleep with your wife and then tell you that it was your fault that she had to turn to him and that he had to do what he had to do. It's your fault. Mike has that look on his face. He also looks like someone he would think that he's good at golf, but he really ain't. You know what I'm saying? And then we know the quarterback. All right. A guy who calls himself Big Cinco. I don't know how I feel about that. But you know me, I try to keep it easy on the players, try to take it easy. We know DJ better than anyone. You know why? Because every one of us had to repent to God for every bad word we ever thought we ever had to say during that time he's playing quarterback for us. Because DJ knew how to throw the ball into the dirt. He really did. There were actually environmentalist groups that were showing up at Death Valley protesting him playing quarterback because they were afraid that his throwing the ball into the dirt was actually creating some type of danger to the atmosphere. Now, I don't, give a flip what they think, but I will have to say there was a couple of times he threw it so hard even I was concerned. I'm glad that the Florida State Seminoles feel really good about last season. I mean, the whole trash talk and everything, but they lost by 60 points in their bowl game. I don't care who said out. There's no reason for you to lose 60 points in your bowl game and still somehow be the front runner for your conference in next year. Clemson's going to beat y'all's head in. All right? They're going to beat your head out, and whenever Chief, what's that Chief, runs out there, rides out there and throws a spear in the ground? What's his name? Chief Hoosalung Dung. Yeah, when Chief Hoosalung Dung comes out there and tries to throw that spear down into the ground, that's about the most exciting moment y'all gonna have that night, other than us slinging dung to the ground. That's y'all. Clemson's gonna win that ball game. The very next week, Clemson goes and plays Wake Forest. I really don't like their name. Never have. Don't feel right about it. I feel like it is dabbling with witchcraft. The demon deacons. We're fighting the demonic spirits this week. That's good. Well, let me tell you what's going to happen. Good holy people's coming up there and going to beat the trash out of them. Last year we let them be close on homecoming because we were, trying to fool everybody for his 2024 year. But you and your satanic selves are going down. Next up. Getting all worked up here. Got to get my breath. I'm getting lightheaded, getting a swimmy head. Next up, Clemson plays Virginia. Virginia comes down here. You remember George Welsh back in the 90s? Had a nose the size of my elbow cranked up. All right? That man picked his nose right there on live on Raycom. You got Mike Hogwood over here in the corner laughing like an idiot. You got George Welsh picking his nose. I mean, fist. He had literally, listen to me. Y'all think I'm making this up? Y'all go pull it up. Not now. This is good stuff. Keep watching this. George Welsh's nose was so doggone big, he'd take his hand, he'd just grab in there. I mean, you just reach in there. I mean, if there was a polyp on the bottom side of his brain, George Welsh could find it with his hands on the sideline during a game. They got Tony Elliott up there. Everybody's gaga for Tony down here at Clemson. But listen, he and Jeff Scott were like Lucy and Ricardo. All right? All right? Everybody tuned in. See, I love Lucy. And they love to watch Ricky and Lucy. Right? And then they got divorced. Nobody gave a rat's rear end about either one of them. Okay? They said they did, but we know we don't. They did. All right. We do care about Jeff. But remember, Tony was there after Jeff left. Jeff left. That's good. And the offense started going down. You might want to act like it didn't, but you're lying to yourself because either you've got a lying problem or you need to come to the acceptance that you are an alcoholic. Say it with me. You're an alcoholic. Not to me. You are. Anyway. Virginia, I'll tell you how bad Virginia is right now. Last I looked, unless they changed it, just for me saying this, they're going to get in there and change it, try to make me look bad. Virginia tickets are cheaper than Stanford tickets. I want you to think about that. Stanford, they're a bunch of losers. Virginia's that bad. Virginia is that bad, and Clemson's going to beat the trash out of them. Louisville. I always get mixed up between Jeff Brom or Brian Brom. Either way, it's one of those Broms that's running around up there. You know, it's the one that has the birthmark on the side of his face. It's birthmark. It looks like I'm trying to remember what state that looks like's on the side of his face. Illinois. Maybe should have coached Illinois, but the coach that has the birthmark on the side of his face looks like a state out of the United States. They're coming down. Last year they had a really good season. They went to transfer portal, bought a bunch of players, quarterback suspect, but they won a lot of games in his first year. That's really, really good for him. That was a good story. All right, but it's just kind of like the kid who went out there and tried to play tackle football, but he was in a wheelchair. They dressed him up, put the helmet on him, and it was adorable until they actually hit him so hard it knocked the catheter out of him. And poo-poo and pee-pee went everywhere. All right? That's what's going to happen here. Okay? Clemson's going to trash Louisville. Clemson's going to win this ball game. Next. We remember Beamer Ball. But let's be honest with ourselves. They had like one or two good seasons, but the rest of it was just okay football. They're up there playing that demonic music of, Metallica. They're all jumping around, acting stupid. Well, that's not the Virginia Tech team Clemson's going to be playing. Nope. Lord, no. Clemson's going in there playing a team that they have to pray before each game, not out of reverence, just praying that they don't get their heads ripped off. And unfortunately, that prayer will not be heard this time. Clemson's going to beat Virginia Tech, a Hokie, whatever it is. They are going to cook their goose. I like to play on words. They're going to beat them too. Clemson goes up, and they got to play Pittsburgh. If you know anything about Pittsburgh, some of their fans are nice. Others are basically wasting a good Social Security number. They had that one year where they had that player played for them. He had, I think he's one that's in the NFL. I want to say plays for the actual Steelers. He might be a backup or something like that. But he had hands like an infant. That's what they always kept talking about. That his hands were like tiny. He couldn't grip the football and all that much stuff. I don't know. But he played up there like 6 or 7 years. Clemson's gonna trash Pittsburgh. They gonna beat them. They are going to basically get a piece of steel that's laying around up there because that's all they talk about. Steelers and gonna knock them around. This ain't gonna be pretty. I'm gonna beat them. Next up, I really believe in our military. I really, really do believe in our military, and I love our military. And I want to take this special moment to tell anyone who served. I take my hat. Well, I ain't gonna take my hat off for you right now, but you get where Bobby's going with it. You smell what the rock's cooking, don't you? It smells good, doesn't it? And that is wonderful. We should always honor our men and women in service. But this weekend, we're going to give them a butt whipping like they ain't. I mean, in fact, after this weekend, probably some of them's going to drop out. Because we're not the Gamecocks and lose to the Citadel at our house. We're not losers like that. Okay? Citadel, it's always nice when they come up there. They come out with those nice little jerseys, and everybody's being nice about, them having to work out and balance working out, and then they're doing their drills and everything, and that is wonderful. But once that game kicks off, we're not going to give a rat's rear end about it. We're going to beat you black and blue. But thank you for your service. Finally, Clemson's going to play the South Carolina Gamecocks. When I think about losers in history, I think about Judas. I think about Judas again. But I also think about just South Carolina. They're losers. Their fans are mouthy for nothing. The one thing I'll hand Georgia fans, at least their football team can play pretty good. They're mouthy. Makes you want to hit them. But they're actually a good football team. South Carolina fans, they're cocky over nothing. Nothing. They have a women's basketball team that is the highlight of their school. This is going to be very hard for me to convey this message. Nobody cares about women's basketball. When you have to give away tickets, that proves nobody cares. Although I do believe Dawn Staley would actually do a better job of coaching this football team, Clemson's going to trash these guys. They're going to trash them. They're going to roast them up. I can give you fried chicken examples. Everybody knows my song, Peck Your Dookie Chicken. There's going to be a lot of dookie pecked. And the chicken's going to be eating a lot of tiger excrement. Clemson's going to beat the living socks off of them. Next, and then after that, it's not on the schedule, but you know where this is going. Clemson's going to play ACC championship against some loser and going to beat the trash out of them. At that point, Clemson's going to get a bye because they're in the college football playoff, #1 team in the country. Going to get a bye. They're going to turn around. They're going to play Georgia again. They're going to absolutely rip the G off the side of that helmet. They're going to beat them for a second time in the season. Next up, they're going to play Oregon. Dan Lanning, he's got it made out there. They got Phil Knight. Phil Knight, the guy owns Nike. He just funnels money into that program like you wouldn't believe. They should have bought them a good team by now with NIL. They're going to come out there. They're all going to be happy. But they're going to roast that duck. They are. And they're probably going to come out in some tacky jersey. You know, I always talk about the jerseys for this team is just wonderful. That's right, Sean McDonough. First of all, it's Clemson, not Clemson. I always think Sean McDonough's having an episode when he does that. So, Sean, go grow some hair. Learn how to say Clemson. It's with a P. Clempson. Clemson. Boom. I just did it for you. Don't have to go to school to learn how to do that. Good Lord. That's what happens when we let nerds announce games. We know who should be announcing games and on the sideline team. These football games, okay? It should be former players, somebody with a good voice, and on the sideline, some beauty queen just trying to make it. All right? That's who should be on the announcing for this. All right, back to Oregon. They come out there in their tacky uniforms. Everybody tries to talk about how cool they are. They look ridiculous. They look like a blind person with bad taste put these uniforms together. Clemson's going to beat them. All right? And I think this third game, trying to remember the number of games, this should lead to the national championship. In the national championship game, you heard it here first, that Clemson's going to play this year is going to be against Deion Sanders and Colorado Buffalo. All right? He's out there. He's doing what he can. Have y'all seen Deion lately? I'm going to have to tell you this. Y'all, I hope y'all don't think bad of me. I love that beard he's grown. He looks like Moses. I'm telling you right now, I hope y'all don't think less of me, but Deion Sanders, with that new beard he's grown, with a little bit of gray in it, looks like Moses, and I love it. I say more of that beard. I hope he keeps it. It adds that extra edge and oomph to it, but I love it. But it's going to be Clemson versus Colorado and Deion Sanders. And right before the game, Deion and Dabo are going to shake hands. And out of nowhere, the original 10 Commandments are going to appear between both of them. This moment, a sweet hush is going to come across the crowd. Young girls will be overcome by emotion. Even the hard-hearted men may have a tear drip down their eye into their beer. And we're going to realize that this game is basically holy. Okay? Then both teams are going to come out there. They're going to play a hard-fought game. We're going to have a hard-fought game. And it's just going to be wonderful. Somebody's going to have to lose that night, but it's going to be Colorado just by a little bit. And Clemson will win the national championship over Deion Sanders, the Colorado Buffalo, and his Moses beard. And everything is going to be right in the Clemson world. And that's my prediction for this season. Well, folks, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining me for this Clemson football 2024 official preview. I hope that you will pass this along to your friends. I hope you will subscribe. And they keep doing stuff over here in the corner. Hey, listen to me. You can't keep doing that. You cannot keep doing that. You're going to get E. coli if you keep sticking your fingers down there and putting it in your mouth. All right? All right, that's not chocolate. Far from it. The smell of it should tell you that ain't chocolate. I hope you will subscribe, and I hope you will pass this along to all your friends and your neighbors, especially who love Clemson football. I'm Bobby Dirkens. You keep showing up, and I'll keep showing out. Bobby Dirkens.